Lightyear, out on Disney Plus, following the theatrical run, latest animated film from Pixar Studios. This time around it's a spin-off slash prequel thing for Toy Story, although not quite. Remember the Buzz Lightyear character from Toy Story? Well, it was the toy based on Andy's favorite film at the time, and as this film informs us at the beginning, this is that movie, this is the favorite movie of Andy. It tells the story of Buzz Lightyear, not the toy, but the human, a space ranger who is on board a ship full of people looking for a new planet to inhabit. They land on one potential candidate, and Buzz, along with his teammate, gets sent out to scout and investigate. Turns out it's not so safe because of dangerous sentient vines and giant bugs flying around. Buzz tries to escape with the ship, to try to fly the ship off to safety, but he makes a crucial mistake and crashes it, destroying the rare source of fuel. This means that the entire crew gets stranded on the planet and they have to build a settlement there, and Buzz becomes obsessed with finding a way to reach hyperspeed again and be able to take everyone off the planet and finish the mission, whatever the cost. So the central premise of the film is that Buzz needs to learn not to work alone, learn to rely on others for help, to accept it and to work as part of a team. Over the course of the film, he meets a group of ragtag misfits and initially dismisses them, insisting that it's his job to save everyone. But then he has to learn that's not necessarily true. That first of all, he needs to accept his own shortcomings. Secondly, that the mission itself is not everything, that life perhaps passes him by as he focuses on the one thing, which is very reminiscent of Buzz's character arc in the original Toy Story, if you think about it. So it's a little bit derivative in terms of that. Secondly, I think it's also derivative when it comes to the setting and the set pieces and the plot elements. It borrows heavily from things like Star Wars, Interstellar, 2001: Space Odyssey, numerous other works of science fiction, but to me it doesn't really do anything new with any of those elements. It does feel like an amalgam of things we've seen before, mashed together in a way that isn't terrible, but isn't in any way innovative either. However, the biggest problem for me was the emotional engagement with the film, which I found very little of. When you think about it, the movie has some heavy elements in it. The idea of everyone around you, everyone you love aging in front of your eyes because of time dilation, confronting your own self over life philosophy, realizing that fulfilling a mission isn't as important as relationships and family. And usually with Pixar movies, I'm sure everybody knows this, everybody gets this to some degree, but I do get into it emotionally, and there is at least that one moment in each film which really hits really hard on an emotional level, like the song in Coco, just as an example. But somehow in Lightyear, none of that ever happened for me. I was quite indifferent to what was going on. I think it's partly because the pacing feels weirdly rushed. Like the heroes have to go to this place and then do this thing and then retrieve this one item and then fly off here and then over there and then there's this character. There's a lot of stuff happening very quickly, and this leaves very little room to breathe, which I think doesn't help the movie's emotional side. I wasn't also entirely sold on the humor. Some of it worked, like the robot cat. Some of it didn't, like Taika Waititi's character, who is almost a repeat of Korg from Thor. The voice acting in general is okay, but not spectacular. The animation is splendid, like it always is with Pixar. I mean, the film does look beautiful, but it does ring a little bit hollow. There is something crucial missing underneath the pretty package. And that's how I would sum it up. It's very pretty to look at, and it's not entirely bad. On the contrary, I found it to be an okay adventure film that is fun and kinetic in parts, but it just didn't grip me emotionally, and it felt largely derivative of other science fiction works. So at the end of the day, decent, but nothing special.